Buongiorno, buonasera, benvenuti amici. Welcome my friends. My name is Vincenzo and welcome to my channel, and the channel is Fountain Pen Therapy. You know, 2026 has been marked for me anyway with and it's really just out of coincidence and not by design. I've landed on a series of Grail pens, or at least considered by me Grail pens. And you know, it's just the way things happened. And you know, once in a while you hunt for a particular pen for months and months and months and sometimes years. And it was the case for the particular pen that I'm reviewing for you today. I've been wanting this Omas 360 for ages. And then one day, there it was. I was surfing through North American pen auction listings, and there was an Omas 360, but in white. And originally I said, well, wait a minute, you know, do I want the white one or the black one, or there's even a blue one, etc. And then I said to myself, you know, that ivory white looks so sharp, and who knows, it might be even a limited edition. And I needed to react quickly because it was there. The auction was quickly moving along, and I needed to bid for it, and I got it for an excellent price. I think the pen is in great condition. So without any further ado, Fountain Pen Therapy, and yes, me Vincenzo, presents to you another Grail pen, the beautiful Omas 360 in white. Okay, so we're going to take a look at the pen in just a few seconds. Just a couple of things about the pen itself. It is a vintage pen, but it's not vintage that goes back to the 1960s or 70s. You know, I think the pen was released from my research in 1996, and I'm just looking at my notes. And the pen was immediately met with some controversy. And of course, it's got something to do with that iconic triangular body, and even not only the section or the grip, but the entire body was triangular. And apparently it was an idea that came from Armando Simone's daughter, Raffaele Simone, who thought that she would design a pen that would force people to hold the pen the right way. And there came this triangular grip. And you know what? It's been used by others. In fact, Lamy Safari uses it today. And to some extent, it's like the Lamy. You either hate it or love it, depending on where you stand in terms of how it affects your grip. Personally, it's an extremely comfortable pen. So I guess I'm holding the pen the right way, according to Raffaele Simone, right? So without any further ado, let's just take a look at just a brief unboxing It came in a box. I'm not sure the box is the original box, but look, I have a box, and then we'll take it from there. So let's go to my overhead camera. Okay, so here's the box that it came in. And, just this sticker here leads me to believe that the box is probably not the box. But or maybe the box is the right box, but what's in it may not be. But it does say Omas 360. It's just that when you open this leather box, leather and hardcover, it's, I think, wood, the pen just doesn't sit nicely in that slot. The slot, to me, appears to be smaller and than the pen, but maybe that's the way it was designed. I'm not sure. And you can see that the leather covering of the box is coming apart slowly. So I have to be careful. I have to try to maintain this. Underneath this flap, it came with just a. This is plastic. It's not really leather, but there it is. I have the business card from where it was purchased, along with an instruction, and you can see all the leather is falling apart. So it does have Omas 360, and it goes through the pen and how it's designed in various languages, which is always a really interesting read, if you will. And it's really, really nice. I got to tell you, I'm very happy with my purchase. So we'll put the box aside for the time being. And let's some of this leather shavings here. Let's take a closer look at this pen. And before I do that, we're going to just adjust the. Okay, here we go. I do want to show you some of the design qualities of this pen, because first of all, okay, the triangular shape, we've talked about that. But what's amazing is the quality of the resin. Apparently the resin used on this pen, unlike some of the older vintage Omas, it's a high-tech resin. So even now, almost decades later, the resin just dazzles, and it's in really, really nice shape, I got to tell you. That's one of the main qualities of the design here. And you've got, of course, that beautiful center band with those Greek keys, which are iconic to Omas, with that center top band. There is a band as well on the piston, because this is a piston. And it's rhodium trimmings. You've got that beautifully curved, functional clip. And what's amazing is just these curvatures. It's just done so precisely. Everything kind of fits really nicely. It's a snap cap. Okay. When you open the snap cap, it reveals the same keys band right there. It's fairly smooth, unlike the Majon V60, which we'll see in a second, which kind of is rough, and so when you go and clean it with the cloth kind of just grips in there. Not this one. Very nice to reveal that beautiful 18-karat Omas nib, and we'll take a look. I haven't inked this pen yet. I wanted to keep it nice and clean for you. You can see that there are two pins there. From what I gather, it's not an easy pen to clean. Unlike many other piston fillers where you could remove, the section and clean it that way and grease it. Apparently, all this is friction fitted, but maybe, they're permanently heat set, as they say, so may not be as easy to get out. So cleaning it is a real pain, and apparently in order to get there, you would have to remove that little pin. You can see a pin there and a pin there, which is not obvious. I'm not going to venture to do that. I'm just going to try to keep this pen as clean as possible. But you can see that The design is done fairly well. The pen is a fairly long pen, so you need not post it. However, it does snap there and does post. It becomes a little long, but it's fairly light, so it doesn't really upset the comfort level nor the balance, in my view. So it does post, unlike the Majon, which we will see, at least mine doesn't post. Very nice. What else do I've got to... apparently this is the Omas brand's last major design innovation, this iconic triangular body and grip pen. And one of the challenges of a pen like this is, your piston is cylindrical, so you got to fit a cylindrical piston into a triangular body, and apparently it forced Omas to make the pen much bigger. And this pen is significantly larger than most vintage Omas pens, as we shall see. I think we've covered the pen both on the outside. Again, the inside, just want to take a closer look. Can I get this to focus? A little more. There you have. There's that nib. It is. It's got fine right there. Is it fine or medium? No, it's a medium. Sorry. So there's an M. So this is a medium nib, and it is so new that I'm just wondering whether or not it's the original nib. But that's something I have to investigate further. But there you have it. So I'm very happy with this. Very happy. Now, I think the next thing I want to do is compare it to several pens. So let me set up a comparison tray, and we'll be right back. Okay, so we're back with the comparison tray. I chose a series of pens here, and there's some logic to it. First of all, here's the subject pen, and this is the Majon V60. And I got to tell you that when we compare the two pens in terms of weight, the Majon feels a little bit heavier for some reason. I don't know if it's the piston, but I got to tell you that the Majon is really, really nice. I think the only thing I don't like about the Majon is the fact that there's too much texture on that center band. The center band is also very different. It doesn't have two bands. It only has one, as you could see. When you open both pens, you can see there's a double band on the original as well. As you can see, there's a top band and then the big one, whereas that's missing on the Majon. I'm sorry about the focus. It's just the camera's not behaving again. The wonders of photography. And yes, the finish of that Greek key band is not great, okay? But in terms of comparison, in terms of, feel, very comparable. This is the Infinigrav, that Kickstarter pen that I reviewed recently, that I'm not sure was really a Kickstarter, but in any event, we won't get into that. The reason I chose this pen is it too has a kind of a, triangular shape. I chose my Scribo feel, one, because the Scribo people did come from Omas, so they are inspired, and just because the size of the two pens is comparable, and this has got many, many facets, but I don't know, just the feel, you can tell there's some influence there. This is Tempi Moderni from Peniter. I don't have the Tempi Moderni fountain pen. This is the rollerball, but again, inspired. Now, which came first? I think the 360 came first, but this too is got a triangular grip, if you will. This is my Omas 360 Magnum, but it's the rollerball. version of the pen, which I got to tell you is just fabulous. And I believe there is a Magnum fountain pen as well, and you can tell, the difference in sizes. S.B. Brown, I think his Magnum 360 is indeed a Magnum. I remember seeing his review. I've included a Safari. This is a special Safari, by the way. It's exclusive to the Itoya shop in Japan. It was a gift from my son when he visited Japan. Very special. But again, you have that, very iconic grip that people love to hate or love to love. And then I wanted to compare it to, this is a more vintage Omas with a vintage nib. And this is a really flexy nib, and I wanted to just see how flexy, if flexy at all, this medium nib in the subject pen is. So there you have the pens capped. Okay, so here are the pens uncapped and unposted. As you can see, between the two, the imitation and the real one, pretty close. It's as big, almost as big as my Scribo Flow. Of course, this doesn't uncap because it's you turn it to push out the roller ball. Pretty similar size to this. This is an Omas Extra, by the way. No, it's smaller than the Omas Extra, but very similar to my Safari. So there you have the pens uncapped and unposted. Okay, in terms of posting, the Scribo doesn't post. The Majon or Moonman V60 does not post. My Magnum Rollerball doesn't post, surprisingly enough. And of course, this doesn't post at all because it doesn't. It's a rollerball. Here you have my Safari, and here you have my Omas Extra. So it's fairly big, as you can see, in terms of posted, but like I mentioned earlier, it doesn't really affect the balance. You could get away with it despite that long length. So there you have the pens compared in terms of size, and I think I want to do some comparisons also in the writing sample. But before we do that, we'll take some measurements, show some measurements, and then we'll do the writing samples. We'll be right back. Okay, so we're all set for the writing sample. In terms of the ink that I've chose, I'm going again with Scribo Blue Capri. I just love this ink, and you know me, this light blue I'm going crazy with it, so I'm going to ride it for as long as I can. The paper is Tomo River original paper in this notebook by Wonderland 222, which I've chosen to be my writing sample notebook of choice for the year. Okay, so let's do this. Wow. Omas 360 white. The reason why I put white is that I think if I find the black one, I'm going to get one. So that's it. That's all we need to say about that. In terms of the nib, it is so smooth, folks. It is an Omas 14 karat, number 6 size, medium. The ink is Scribo Blue Capri. So when we look at the nib and the writing experience, first of all, in terms of wetness, in my view, it is a very wet pen. Very wet. Almost a gusher. Smoothness. Extremely smooth. I would say no feedback at all. What else do we need to look at? I'm looking, I want to make sure, because what I notice is from review to review, I never have the same things. Oh yes, consistency. So, is it constant or not? By that I mean, does it, fast writing in every direction possible. There's no hard start at all. Just excellent. 10 on 10 for consistency. Bounce. And here's where there is a slight disappointment. I don't think this is light. I mean, I can get a little bounce out of it, but it's not as flexy as some of the other vintage that I'm going to show you in a minute. It's pretty, there is some softness because it's gold, but it's not bouncy. But it is soft. Reverse writing. Hard to write reverse with this rectangular. Depending. I don't like it because you just can't hold the pen properly, but it's a little scratchy. So I would not recommend it. I think we've basically done that. I think we've covered all bases. Now, likes and dislikes. Zero dislikes, folks. That's me, by the way. I like the design. The build quality, I think, is excellent. I like the material, that resin that really dazzles even after so many years. I think the nib is absolutely smooth. I guess if there is a dislike, I was expecting, that the nib has no bounce. Whoop. The filling system, there's no ink window, but that would kind of spoil the design of the pen. But especially with these vintage piston filling systems, you never know whether or not you're really filling the pen. And so you're hoping for the best. I know you could take measurements of weight and all the rest of it. I guess that could be one way of doing it. Maybe that's the way I will do it in the future. But it is a pain if you got to start, weighing pens and all the rest of it. But the nib is really the smoothness of the nib is. Is this a go-to pen? I would say to you, this is a Grail. I would say no. It's a Grail that stays at home. So, because it's a Grail, I wouldn't want to bring this along. It costs too much money and it's a little too fragile in my view. I want to keep it nice and new and not beat it up. So I don't think it's an everyday carry. So there, in terms of value, well, it's expensive. I'm not going to tell you what I paid for it, but it's a Grail pen, folks. So, like many, they are expensive. There's a little bit of skipping there, but it's just the way I'm holding the pen. Again, if you don't listen to Mrs. Simone, and if you, twist your rectangle slightly, well, then the pen won't write. So it forces you to make sure that you hold it properly. There again, you see a skip there. 10 on 10. Now, that skip is of concern. I will give it a, see again there, 9 on 10. So consistency, yeah, I saw a little bit of a skipping there. So I'm going to give it an 8. I don't know what's going on there, but so there you have it. That's the review of the pen. Now, what I want to do, and what typically I've been doing on the left side of this notebook, where I see the review itself of the pen, is that we're going to do some comparing while we're at it. So, first pen I want to compare it to is, of course, this is the Majon V60. And it's got a Moonman 1.1 stub. And wow, it is so smooth, folks. I think if you don't want to spend money on that Omas 360, and I know there's all the, the sentimental value that goes with it, and the fact that you're holding a vintage pen. But if you want to know how that pen feels, and whether or not you would be comfortable with the triangular grip, the imitation is 10 on 10, both in terms of design, build quality, and feel. Okay, so there you have it. Next, I want to show you why I'm a little bit disappointed with the nib, that it doesn't have the bounce that this nib. I'm almost tempted to switch, but I only have a few of these, so let me just see if it writes. It's been a while I haven't written with this. This is the Omas Extra. There are many extras, but this is, I'm just going to put the cigar shape one instead of the one that has facets. And let me just, I don't know if you can see this, but it's got that spring to it that the 360 does not have. Whoop, railroaded it. Sorry about that. Yeah. Oh, I'm wondering, it may not be. You see, that's another thing. I'm not sure there's any ink anymore in this pen now. Or maybe I just railroaded it to the point, well, usually when I do this, it comes back. Yeah, no, maybe there's no more ink. But you get my message. This has a lot more bounce. And if I compare it to a modern, this is a modern Omas. Got to tell you, feels very, very comparable, equal. The nib, in fact, I would say to you that this nib, say fine, is probably softer. So more soft than the 360. There you have it. So what else can I tell you in terms of comparison? There is this other Omas which has a medium, again a modern one. I would say it's a finer line than this medium. I think you can see that. Much finer than the other nib. It almost writes like my original Bologna nib. Mind you, this is even this is the Omas. Yeah, comparable. In fact, feels exactly the same way. Doesn't have the same engraving on it though, but as you can see, the line is almost equivalent. So there you have it. That's my review, folks. I hope you enjoyed that. Beautiful pen. I'm still happy with it. Yes, I would have wanted a springier and bouncier nib, but not all Omas have that spring to it. In fact, I didn't show it to you, but this faceted one, if we just cut this faceted Omas, first of all, you can see and maybe you could see it better with my, where is it? Where's my black? This has got the same resin. I think you can see that this resin is much nicer than the resin on that faceted one. And this one's got a nice nib, but again, it's not a flexi nib, and it's a vintage. So and much older than the 360. But otherwise, you know what? I'm very happy. It's satisfied a hunt. Another Grail pen goes into my collection, folks. I hope you've enjoyed that. Grazie molto. Please subscribe if you haven't. So if you like this video, please subscribe. Leave a comment. Ring that alert and like bell or whatever it is, so that the algorithm gives me some added value, if you will. Thank you very much. Grazie molto. Arrivederci, and be well.